Hi and welcome back to this video series. In this video series we're talking about Centrify Identity Service. In this video I'm going to talk about the administrative experience. I'm going to do it in a very compressed way. I'm probably not going to make a lot of justice to it. But we're going to talk about how you can monitor your environment, how you can have users from different identity sources, how you can manage apps, devices, and policies, how can you provide role-based access controls, reporting, and we're going to explore some of the settings. This is one of my test environments. And in here you can see that I have an overview of my user, device, and application real estate, popular apps, infrastructure status, as well as an overlay of my accessed applications with information on the users. Notice that I can see the makeup of my mobile devices. And this is not very exciting because it's a demo environment. Notice how different it is in a production environment. It's a huge and large and access from all over the world. Let's start first with the infrastructure. The infrastructure required for organizations is a component called a Cloud Connector. Notice in here that I can see that I have 3 Cloud Connectors enabled. And Cloud Connectors are very simple. They're a Windows service and they can be installed behind your firewall. And all they need to do is initiate a secure connection out to the Centrify Cloud. The benefit of Cloud Connectors is that they don't require organizations to have infrastructure in the DMZ or complex rules in the firewall. And Cloud Connectors provide many capabilities. First and foremost, there are Active Directory bridges. Centrify's approach is not to explicitly synchronize information out to the Centrify Cloud, especially credential information. Think about the Cloud Connector or the AD proxy as a Centrify bridge or a client. When an authentication request comes out from the cloud, it's all brokered to the Cloud Connector, and there's no need to have credential data out in the cloud. They also provide LDAP proxy bridges as well as App Gateway. And App Gateway is really important because it allows organizations to limit the use of VPN by providing reverse proxying or per app VPN. For example, at Centrify we make a lot of use of Bugzilla. After all, we're an engineering company. In previous months, I would probably have to VPN to my organization and then access Bugzilla. But now we can have this application published directly using the Centrify App Gateway, and we've actually eliminated the use of VPNs, and we have limited the risk of exposure for the whole network. In addition, this capability is available from your mobile device, so if I needed to access Bugzilla, the experience is going to be exactly the same as if I had a rich client. Going back to the administrative side, users can come from Active Directory, Cloud Directory, and LDAP directories. Centrify is working hard to add more identity sources, including federated identities. A huge benefit of organizations is that you can have different Active Directories that may not have any trust relationships, and Centrify Identity Service can be the bridge between those identities. Because you may have users that need access to applications, and they don't need Active Directory accounts. But you may have users that are coming from an acquired company that need access to applications in a different side. Notice that I can add users, and in here I have different kinds of identities exposed. For example, I can invite users from the cloud, from one Active Directory forest, and a different Active Directory forest. Notice that I have users that may exist in different forests, and I can actually effectively use the different identities to provide access to apps. In terms of apps, we can publish different kinds of apps, and we have 2 major categories: web apps and mobile apps. Web apps can be as broad as commercial applications, which we may already have a template for. We have more than 3,000 templates. For example, Office. We have templates for Office 365, including SSO and provisioning. This means that you don't need ADFS or DirSync, and you can effectively assign an Office license by using Centrify rules. These rules can be as easy as adding a user to a group in Active Directory, and they either get, or when you remove them, they get removed from Office 365. You can have your own custom applications that can be as simple as a bookmark or as complex as a WSFed or a SAML application. You can also use the Infinite Apps plugin to capture the authentication pattern of those apps. Those patterns can actually be imported for the purposes of testing. Mobile apps can be provisioned to mobile devices, and they can be from the Apple Store or the Google Play Store. For example, Waze, popular GPS application, I can actually go ahead and push it. But I can have my own custom applications, Android in-house, Android iOS, or even Mac OS applications deployed out to Macs that are managed through the service. Remember, Centrify provides a lot of support for developers, which means that if you're a developer, you can have your own application using the Centrify Identity Platform by using one of the SDKs that Centrify provides. Going back to the administrative side, then there's the whole device management capability. Let me go ahead and demonstrate out from this portal. What I said before, remember, end users have the ability to see geolocation of their devices. However, if I'm looking at devices from the perspective of an administrator, I don't have that view that allows me to see where those devices are. So for example, if I look at this iPhone, notice that I don't have the geographical view. This is for the purposes of privacy. Device policy can be managed in the cloud service or in Active Directory in the form of GPOs. Notice that we have GPOs for common settings, iOS, Mac OS, and Android related devices. The same can be added through here using policies that govern mobile as well. Okay. From a policy perspective, we have a lot of those. We can actually have a whole hour on policies. But the benefit is that you can control from an authentication perspective is, what constitutes, for example, an unknown client, right? When am I going to ask for step up authentication, right? What are my timeouts? What are the multi-factor mechanisms that I'm going to expose? For example, you may want to uncheck the user-defined question because it's typically highly social engineerable friendly. Cookie settings, a lot of settings as well. Roles allows me to define, what users are entitled to do within the service and what applications users can access. Notice in here, I have a role for Google Apps. It's very simple. It has basically an assigned application, which is Google Apps. The members are the members of the AD group called Google Apps in my environment. The benefit here is that all I need to do is to manage, the user rights inside that group in AD, and I don't have to touch the portal anymore. Finally, you can also manage administrative rights, and the rights can be as broad as a system administrator that has all the rights, or limited device management, all device management, and different type of entitlements. We can provide really strong reporting capabilities, and the idea is to provide meaningful reports. For example, I like to use this built-in report. It's a security report that shows me who has failed logins, but in the context of geographical access. So in here, if I look at the map report login, it's going to show me all the places in which I've had failed logins. So in here, it seems that I haven't had any failed logins in a little while, but if I switch back to a more production-ready environment, let's go back here to reports, built-in reports, security reports, failed login maps, and let's see the map report. And this is going to give me an overlay of the whole organization and all the places in which I've had failed logins. This is very significant because having the information that somebody failed a login is just one piece of information. However, if I know the location in which I'm getting a lot of failed logins, perhaps that's more significant for my security department. Finally, there's settings, right? So there's a lot of settings. We can't go into all of them, but customization and branding is really important. The ability to provision Apple devices and mass Apple devices, to manage and configure the capabilities of cloud connectors, to define the corporate IP range. Because when you define applications, you can actually have different rules tied to those applications. Like for example, perhaps you want to restrict an application only to be accessed from the corporate IP range and require strong authentication, right? Applications can also be exposed using the app gateway, like I said before. Well, going back to here, policy management for devices, when are they going to be refreshed? Directory services that are tied to the organization, Exchange ActiveSync settings, timeouts, different licenses for different capabilities, the ability to put friendly login suffixes for organizations, mobile device management, perhaps you want the service to do mobile device management or not. And then there's provisioning. And provisioning is really important because it allows us to see the status of provisioning based on what we have enabled for provisioning. And we can see a view that shows me all the jobs that have been submitted and if they've been completed and if they have any issues. This is a really compressed tour of the administrative capabilities of the identity service. But these 2 videos have been to set up another key capability that I want to explore, which is the privileged service. And I hope this actually helped you.